Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephen Miller and today we are going to be doing a sketchbook tour. This is not the traditional kind of sketchbook like one of these. This is my own creation. Today we're going to be talking about some of my photography work, some of my digital painting work, just all the stuff that I love to do. And I thought I would share it with you guys because I love it so much, and I'd hope you'd enjoy it too. So let's get started. So first up is a photo series I did of the blood moon we had this year. I just decided to keep the number smaller to 5, with the moon being bigger, emphasizing kind of the stars in the background. This was a custom piece for a customer, but I printed it out just to get kind of an idea of what it would look like. While I was waiting for the photos to be taken, I had some tracing paper on me and a paint pen, so I decided to kind of doodle a little bit. From where I was, Cassiopeia was the only constellation that was visible, just because the night sky was really kind of terrible. Next, we have a body study of the male figure. I really enjoy drawing the human figure. It's very interesting, it's very complex, and I love the way that it moves, that it stretches. It's just very interesting to me. And for me personally, I prefer to draw with pen. You'll see some pencil drawings in here, but I think pen gives just, I don't know, it gives a more dynamic image for my own personal taste. But hands, feet, some muscles, shading, just basic human body structure. This is where we get into some of my digital sketches. So for the last year and a half, I've been trying to teach myself about painting in like Illustrator or Photoshop. I had never really done it before, only kind of slightly for like graphics and stuff, but never like trying to paint really. So this year, I kind of focused on trying to develop those skills. I'm a huge fan of realism, so I try and capture at least some realism looking detail in my images, unless of course I'm doing a quick sketch. So we've got 2 jewel studies, different styles, one more kind of cartoony and one more realistic. Then I create a quick color palette of what the main colors are that I'm going to be working with, just kind of as a reference. Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to that. Than the interesting thing is this is one of the earlier creations that I made. I think this is the second time I tried painting in Photoshop, and it was such a pain in the ass, to be honest, that I just wanted to go for something more simple. And so slowly I've been kind of developing my own style and own way of doing it, but I think it's coming along nicely. Then moving back into more traditional sketches, I really like scientific study sketches. So because this year had Shark Week and there was a couple programs focusing on the hammerhead, the great hammerhead, which is my favorite shark, I did a quick study of them, kind of the parts of them that help them find their food, size of the teeth, which is drawn to scale, just little interesting facts about them, just trying to do my own little quick version of it. Got fox, an alligator. I never let my sketches run beyond like 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the max. I always try and keep stuff really, really quick. That way I can get a lot of information down and I don't have to worry about being perfect. Okay, so back into more of the digital sketches. I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan, so I did Jon Snow as a Lego man. And I really love Legos. Like, I have an entire freaking bin of Legos out in my garage that's like 30 gallons or something. That's all I ever wanted when I was a kid. And so I did a couple of pieces. I did the Jurassic World Indominus Rex in Lego form. And actually, oddly enough, when I put this one up, I got a contact from Lego to say, take it down, because I decided to see if they had any Lego versions online yet, and apparently there was a leaked photo. I didn't know it was leaked at the time, So I did my own version of it, and I ended up getting a contact from Lego that says, please take this down. This is not official yet. No, no, no. Sorry, Lego. But I guess that's kind of a compliment, right? Again, Game of Thrones is one of my favorite television shows, so I tried to create Dany's main dragon here. This was the first real painting I tried to do in Photoshop, and even though it didn't come out exactly the way that I wanted, I'm really kind of proud of it, just because it is a first attempt. I tried to get some lifelike detail, learning about skin textures and how it all translates into a digital medium. And is it the best? No, but do I love it? Yeah. Here's another one of my photography pieces. Sometimes I'll print out a couple of drafts to write notes on with a white pen, and she's one of my favorite pictures I've ever taken. But she was playful and sweet, and she was very much the queen of the pride. And so I did some quick doodles on it, just because when you're in edit mode, sometimes that can be it can be overwhelming and you can get kind of consumed by it. So this was my way of kind of just like snapping out of it for a second. But yeah, here I was trying to focus on like the color of yellow that I wanted, that was a natural yellow but also was a little bit more saturated. This is a rough draft, but I still love it. All right, another digital work. Again, like I said, I'm a huge Jurassic Park nerd. So I decided to practice watercolor painting, which I didn't even know was a thing in Photoshop until earlier this year. My grandmother was a phenomenal watercolor artist, and unfortunately she passed this year. And she try as she might, she couldn't. I was never able to get watercolors in real life to work for me. So I thought I'd try out digital watercolors, and like the raptor's more successful than the baby stegosaurus, but it was so much fun to do and try and get in here with some of the texture and really try and play around with how color affects the picture's landscape just by layering them, and learning how to create brighter colors but avoid muddy colors. So it's not bad, but I look forward to doing more of it and getting better in the future. Okay, so we're back to my photography work. So this is what I do. I print out a full fine art rendering of my images, and then I write my notes directly on the image. These are all my notes about this photo in its early stages of editing. I always make notes to myself, like, why would this be the subject? Do we like the metaphor of the empty sky in the desert? How do we unmuddy the brown? Just little notes like that. And then I have these. If you've ever had an art class, you know what this is. You try and get your crop in. For me, sometimes I'll crop things specifically for Instagram, and then when they go up on my website or they go into print, I will leave them in their full format, just because, well, honestly, I don't know why. That's just the way I like to do it. Alrighty. Here we have some more sketches. Great white shark. Great white shark. Baby elephant. Fingers are all stuck together. Snake. Just little things that either you think of on the spot or you see on TV. Just do a quick 5-minute sketch. This is one of my photography studies. This is 5 of my favorite photos from a year-long observation of Mount Hood, which is the mountain that is closest to where I live. Different angles, different lenses, different filters, different techniques. All my notes about what size I used, what direction I was facing, time of day, all pertinent information to a study, what worked and what didn't, so that way when I go back, I know what I can do better. Okay, so this page, right now I am working on an ebook and I am also working on an ebook for a client. So I have 2 books going, and these are some I call them sketches. For some people they're like full projects, but for me they're sketches of graphics that I've created in Photoshop or Illustrator, and kind of working on a general layout. So like this would be one layout, this would be another layout. You know, how big can I make these graphics before they lose their quality? You know, do I like the color relationship, like the black white colors, you know, how they coordinate to each other. And of course some stuff you'll have to get only exclusively in the book. Next, I really enjoy abstract photography, and this year I made a real push to try and develop a style and an understanding of abstract photography. My favorite thing to do is to shoot aerial photography that is abstract. So these are all landscapes here in Oregon. And I really wanted to spend a lot of time learning to understand abstract style more. I've been researching a couple of photographers that I'm very interested in. We have Hiroshi Sugimoto and Paul, who has unfortunately passed away. He was killed in a plane crash recently. But Paul is the photographer that does the most similar to the style that I want to shoot, which is aerial landscape photography. Hiroshi is more like still life or focusing on a single subject in his images. Both beautiful photography. Highly recommend. Again, here's another one of my photography prints that I make my notes on. I make notes about saturation, about how the colors transition into one another, where I can lower the blacks or where I can raise the blacks. For me, I'll probably go through 5, 6, maybe 7 edits that I have printed out, gone over with a fine-tooth comb, and then put into full production. But I always like to print out kind of a final version rough draft, just so I understand how the color is going to work with the paper, how the subject matter is going to look, the sizing, you know, all of those details. So this is the final page in the sketchbook. Sometimes I will do a grouping of photos that are like each other, either as far as like subject matter or importance, or there's some element that connects them all. For me, these 3 photos represented successful moments throughout the year. I take elements like, I really find golden eagle claws very fascinating. They're gigantic. So I decided to do a quick sketch of some of the golden eagle claws that I found online after seeing them in the wild. You know, a quick sketch of the eagle. And every time that I go out and I take a photo where I'm not doing like a video about going out and taking a photo, I always try to write down some information about the moment. Sometimes it's just a few sentences, sometimes it's an entire page. For this one, for example, I was out trying to get a different shot, and as I was walking along, all my camera bags are full of my gear, so I have nothing out, and 3 golden eagles take off from this tree after a crow which had stolen something from them. And while the other 2 had flown off by this time, this one was kind of still circling the area, and I was able to snap a photo before it too was gone. This one, you know, it's just a moment of relaxation. I have a lot of anxiety attacks, a lot of kind of overwhelming thoughts, so I look for moments of where I can kind of relax a little bit, and that's what this location was for me. It was just a moment where I could just sit, be reflective, and not have to think about a damn thing. And this one is one of my favorite photos I've ever taken. This bald eagle, this is one of the highlights for the year for me. It has won 6 awards so far, and I wanted to include one of them just because this year has been absolutely awful for me personally, and I just wanted to be able to flip through my memories and be reminded that even amongst all of the chaos that something good did happen this year, and something that it's something that I can be very, very proud of. So I think including elements of that into our sketchbooks are just a nice way to remind ourselves that, you know what, there are times when the world's just not that bad. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. The whole YouTube situation, likes actually really help and they mean a lot. This is something that I'd like to do more of in the future, so if that's something that you're interested in, please leave a comment down below and let me know. So I think that's going to do it for me, guys. 2017 is just around the corner. May you have an incredibly happy new year, and hopefully 2017 will be a much better year for us all. As we always say here when we sign off, be smart, be strong, and be fearless. I will see you guys next year.